Hello and welcome to the Great Muppet Fandom Panel from toughpigs.com. Usually, this is a panel discussion show about Muppet news, but not this time. Tonight we're doing something special that I like to call the Muppet Friend Awards. The panel is going to try to determine the best friend of the Muppets and come up with some honorable mentions called Friends of the Muppets. What do I mean by that? Well, not the Muppet performers, not the behind-the-scenes creative people like Craig Shemin, I mean stars, celebrities. Who are the big names in the entertainment world who have been supporters of the Muppets? Who are the entertainers who've worked with them a bunch and played off them like they're all part of the same family? Tonight, we find out. And we'll put their names on nice little certificates and post those certificates on social media to show our appreciation for the Muppet appreciators in Hollywoodland. The panel for this evening is a group of Muppet fans who all have their ties to the entertainment world in one way or another, but you know them as the hosts of Muppeturgy, a Muppet Show rewatch podcast. It's one of my favorite shows that puts the Muppet Show in the context of all the pop culture that's connected to it. They talk about the history of each song the Muppets perform on the show. They talk about what else was on TV the night that episode of The Muppet Show was broadcasting, and they even have a short biography for each guest star. With 3 seasons under their belt, they can tell you which guest stars were down to clown with the Muppets, were generally a good fit for them, at least for the guests in the first 3 seasons. I'll be filling in the stars who worked with the Muppets since the 3rd season of The Muppet Show. So between the 5 of us, I'm sure we'll have a perfectly balanced spread. It'll be great. Let's introduce the panelists. If just one person believes in you, maybe even you can believe in David Levy.
Hey!
They only got one another, but we got Christy Bauer.
Hello!
Ask me a riddle, and I reply, Michal Richardson.
Hi there.
Though I probably shall not exclaim as I die, Adam Grossworth.
I have a cold, I'm highly medicated, and there is bourbon in this hot toddy, so I'm really happy to be here.
Good, great. And I'm JD Hansel. Muppeturgists, I'm so happy to have you all here. I'm a big fan of the show. I have a bunch of questions I want to ask all of you if we have time, but for now, I'll just ask this. How did you 4 decide to start your podcast together?
It's David's fault.
It's true. When Disney Plus announced that they were going to stream The Muppet Show, I just knew that this was inevitable. I took to Twitter and I said, oh no, this means I'm going to have to start a Muppet Show rewatch podcast, doesn't it? And I don't remember who the first person was who was like, well, I guess you're asking because you want us to tell you yes, right? And I was like, no, I want you to tell me no. They're like, we're not going to do that. And everyone else were just the people in my life who were the most obvious answers to who do I want to spend 5 years watching the Muppets with?
I believe my exact response to that question was, well, I already have a microphone.
So can you tell me a little bit about like what each of you do? Because you all know a lot about theater, and I feel like theater is such a big part of what makes The Muppet Show The Muppet Show. It's pulling so many songs from musical theater. I mean, you all seem like such experts. So what do you all do?
So I work for Actors Equity Association, which is the union for actors and stage managers who work in the live theater in the United States.
I write musicals that for stage and screen. So that's my entry point.
Incredibly cool. To be clear, both of you, incredibly cool. Sorry.
I don't actually work in theater, though I am a theatrical and theatrically inclined person. But I write scripts for kids' media and especially for a children's podcast called The Imagine Neighborhood that I suggest all of you go listen to right now. Pause this podcast, go listen to The Imagine Neighborhood instead, then come back.
Michal is also an award-winning playwright.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
It's very accurate. Or an award runner-up rating playwright.
I've placed somewhere. Thank you.
And a puppeteer, and has
oh yeah, I do a bunch of crap.
Skills.
You asked what I do, which I assumed meant for money.
And a dancer.
I spend a lot of time doing a lot of things.
And it's all valid.
Thank you.
I used to be a stage manager, which you will hear on the podcast when I get real pedantic about how things work backstage and why is there no crew and wait, is Kermit the stage manager? Is Scooter the stage manager? What's going on? But I now work for a nonprofit called the National Alliance for Musical Theater, which provides services to theater producers, mostly nonprofits. So I am also deeply steeped in musicals on the sort of business side of things.
All so cool. And with that, it is now time for the Great Muppet Question. Panelists, are you ready? Great! This episode's Great Muppet Question is, what's the best episode of The Muppet Show that you've covered so far on the podcast?
I mean, there's only one right answer to this question, and it's the Phyllis Diller episode, entirely because of the raw sexual chemistry between her and Ralph.
Undeniable. It is also undeniable that Sandy Duncan makes you feel good all over, so you can't really beat that.
This is true. This is true.
My actual favorite episode, probably of all time, but we have 2 seasons to go, is Pearl Bailey, and that's just a sincere answer. I have no joke. But
we're not in the sincere part of the podcast.
I know. Well, you put a joke in the outline you gave us, so I was not really prepared to be sincere, but then I did it anyway. But there are so many little moments, even in some of the episodes we've hated, have had some really nice moments. And if I'm never doing this because it would be too much work, but if I were ever going to do a sketches ranking, it would be so wildly all over the place. And I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm really excited for these next 2 seasons that were not released on DVD that I don't have the same kind of memories of to see what we're in for.
Adam just needs to come out and admit that he loves the Peter Ustinov episode, even though everyone else hates it.
I am the only one of us who likes the Peter Ustinov episode. Because there is some stuff in that episode that I really liked. It's true. It's not high in my rankings overall, but it had its moments. I also have a weird, childhood Disney's Robin Hood linked affection for Peter Ustinov. So yeah, I will continue to stick up for that episode.
And I'm here to speak for the J.P. Moore fans. J.P. Morgan was the first, not the last, but the first guest star who was brave enough to say that The Muppet Show is a piece of shit and it is below her. But despite it all being beneath her, she put on her best chicken suit and flew high above the material.
Well done.
Well, thank you all for playing along with all this foolishness. It's time to move on to tonight's main event. But first, I want to remind our listeners that Tough Pigs can always use your help and support so we can keep making nerdy Muppet fan stuff like this. If you can, consider joining our Patreon, and if you want some fun Muppet merch, you'll find some on our TeePublic store. Muppeturgists, you also have a store with Muppet fan merch, is that right?
That's true. I am, in fact, wearing some of our merch right now.
And I'm wearing some of the Tough Pigs merch right now.
David, you just disappeared into the background when you stood up.
Oh, no.
You stood and just vanished.
Don't bother, he's not here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm so tempted to get the clown's shirt.
That is what I'm wearing tonight. Although I do also own Tough Pigs merch. I own the Manhattan Melody shirt.
Same.
Yeah, I gotta get that one. I'm wearing the Be the Monster You Wish to See at the End of This Book shirt.
The clown shirt, in fact, all of our merch also comes in a baby onesie edition, which I need to finally send to my friend tomorrow. Look how cute.
Send it before their baby outgrows it.
That's wonderful. That's nice. All right. And with that, let's jump into the Muppet Friend Awards. Michal, I don't know what I'm looking at with your list, so...
A lot of mystery.
Why don't you go first? And I'm curious. Who have you nominated for a Muppet Friend Award?
Okay. I wasn't sure how to approach this assignment, so you can tell me how I did.
Okay.
I will discuss my first pick and why I think that this person is such a good friend to Muppets, or at least to one Muppet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go.
Number 15!
Can we talk? Okay, listen. Sometimes a friend is someone who tells you what you need to hear. She'll tell you when you need rouge. She'll tell you when you need eyebrows. She'll give you a complete makeover when you're feeling down. She'll tell you when you're pushing it. And when she gets fired just for putting a smile or eyebrows on your face, she'll think it's hilarious. Or it might have just been all the gin and tonics. So... setting aside their QVC feud of 2014, which I only just learned about when I was researching this yesterday. I missed a lot of exciting Muppet media in 2014. Nobody has been a better friend to Miss Piggy than Joan Rivers.
Papa. Oh, this is just, you look fabulous. Look at you. And a little more on the cheeks. And a little more on my cheeks.
great pick. A great pick. I mean, it's true that she's had a lot of great Muppet interactions, and that scene in Muppets Take Manhattan is kind of a show stealer there. That I never would have thought of this choice, but she is a great choice. Adam, I think you're up.
Number 14.
Yeah, I found this a little challenging. Mostly, I was surprised. There's a great page on Muppet Wiki, shout out Muppet Wiki, of people who have appeared on both Muppet TV shows and Muppet movies.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised how short that list was, because I just sort of think of, like, you know, these stars and they must have done so many appearances. And it's a surprisingly short list, at least of sort of the Muppet world that I exist in, which does not tend to include Sesame Street. Right. Although I love Sesame Street. It's just, I've largely left it behind.
Yeah.
But I went for my first pick with Whoopi Goldberg. I am in these small group of people who will stick up for It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie.
Interesting.
How do you figure?
It just hit me at just the right time. I have watched it recently. I do own the DVD. It is not streaming anywhere that I know of. It is extremely 2002. It dated immediately, including by the presence of Whoopi Goldberg as God. She is credited as the boss, but let's call it what it is.
Yep.
And, you know, just the credits alone, those guest star credits alone.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2002. But I really love it. And that Moulin Rouge sequence alone. And then you throw in Joan Cusack as the villain, and you throw in a plot line about how Kermit is, in fact, bad at business and, you know, deeply in debt. And it's like, I'm here for it. I'm into it. And
it was so good, they remade it as a feature film in 2011.
I mean, kinda. But without Joan Cusack and Whoopi Goldberg. So it's worse. And so, yeah, so I'm into it. And then she's actually done a lot with them over the years, you know, including Muppets Tonight. She did an episode of. She's had the Muppets on various, you know, talk show appearances. She's done a lot of Sesame Street. She's just really legitimately a very good friend of the Muppets. She, like, you know, I believe that they hang out off camera. Like, I buy it. So I'm going Whoopi Goldberg.
So I think I'm supposed to tell you my favorite Sesame Street memory, but I have two of them.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the first one?
The first one was the very first time I walked onto a Sesame Street.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I saw everybody, and Big Bird was there, and all these kids were there, and I was too old to be a kid.
You're never too old to be a kid.
Well, that's what I figured out.
Yeah, I kind of expected this episode would almost be a race to who could type Whoopi Goldberg first, because with just how much she loves to work with the Muppets and how much she's done it over so much time, and even doing little odd things like narrating the Being Elmo documentary. Like, she's just filled every little corner of the Muppet sphere that she can. And she's in the Sesame Street 50th anniversary special. She, I think, seemingly has a crush on Pepe the King Prawn or something like that, if I remember that running gag correctly. So part of me wants to call the Muppet Fan Awards the Whoopies. Because it's just, she's been such a great friend to the Muppets. I think I'm sorry. I am stuck on this take, this It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie take. I'm sorry. Like, I am very glad that the Muppet fan community has lots of different opinions. And that is one of those opinions. That's one of the different ones. And I appreciate that.
Humanity and fandom are a rich tapestry. But I did not know that in that rich tapestry there was room for somebody being a fan of Very Merry Muppet Christmas.
Listen, it's no Kermit Swamp Years, but...
What is?
Scooter dancing in the cage? I mean, come on. Come on, it's a good gag. I'm sorry.
Sets my
it's
teeth
funny.
on edge. Also, it was very 2002. Was it hip in 2002 to talk about Kermit dying?
Yeah, you have a real problem with Muppets dying.
I have a real problem with insinuating that Kermit is dying, will have died, was never born, will freeze to death.
But then he doesn't.
Yeah, that they blow dry him, but not before they can worry for 2 minutes that they're going to break him in half because he's frozen solid. Why'd they do this to me?
So do you worry when watching the 1979 Muppet movie about a killer who kills frogs?
No, that clearly is going to turn out well.
Okay.
It's the Muppet
But you're
movie.
genuinely worried for Kermit the Frog when you watch It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie.
I watched this movie once when it came out, and here
Okay.
we are 20 years later, and I'm still concerned.
And don't even get her started on old Gonzo from Haunted Mansion.
I have a problem.
Just the one.
It's my biggest problem.
Okay. David?
Number 13.
You know what? I'm going to stay firmly in the Muppets Tonight era because I do love that Whoopi Goldberg episode. But my favorite episode of Muppets Tonight is the Tony Bennett episode. And I think Tony Bennett is a great, great friend to the Muppets. And not only because he was perhaps the best guest star of a show that was the wrong thing at the wrong time, but he fit in so well because he was having this sort of late career resurgence at the same moment that the Muppets were trying to have a late career resurgence. He had reinterpreted himself successfully for the MTV generation, the Muppets less so. And so it felt like they had a lot in common that they could share with each other. But that's not his only crossover with the Muppets. So he had been on Sesame Street. In fact, his rendition of the song Little Things, which I think is one of Joe Raposo's best songs and deserves a long life outside of the context of Sesame Street. I think it's just like a great cabaret song. His rendition is a classic. His is the version that got included on the Sesame Street box set. And he invited Kermit to do a duet on his album The Playground, where they did a number that actually they had done together on Muppets Tonight. They did Cy Coleman's Firefly, which is a Tony Bennett classic that was just so perfect for Kermit to join in that it seems so inevitable. It's amazing that it took them until the 90s to do it and then do it twice. And on the Sesame Street side of things, Slimy to the Moon is one of the, I would say latter day, but at this point it's probably mid-career Sesame Street, like greatest hit moments. And there's more and there's other things. And also, in some ways, I feel like the Tony Bennett, Lady Gaga connection, which then, also Lady Gaga has been a friend, although I don't think a best friend of the Muppets in later years. I feel like some way he's sort of the spiritual grandfather of that later connection. I just feel like he's someone who's been there for decades now with the Muppets. I mean, he was in Muppets Most Wanted. He sang with Miss Piggy in the Thanksgiving Day Parade in 2016. It's the longevity. It's the doing stuff on both sides of the Sesame Street Muppet Show line. And it's just, I think, especially that sort of the way that kind of his whole deal fits so well, because it's wholesome, but it's not too wholesome. It's like if Frank Sinatra is like a little too edgy for you, there's Tony Bennett, and that seems just like perfect for the Muppets. So I think it's not just that they perform well together, but that they vibe.
Sorry, I think you mispronounced the name Frank Sinatra. You want to take another crack at his full name? So
there is noted Joe Raposo stan Frank Sinatra.
There we go. Okay.
But if he's too edgy for you, there's Tony Bennett. No, and let us not forget. Before Tony himself had ever appeared with the Muppets paid tribute to him in the Muppets Take Manhattan, in the crucial scene where Gonzo water skis while Camilla and the chickens perform the William Tell Overture in the style of Tony Bennett.
Yes.
No higher honor.
Totally forgot about that. But you're exactly right. In hindsight, those chickens sounded exactly like Tony Bennett. Wow, that's a good pick.
I believe in little things like you,
Mr. Bennett.
and me,
And
just how big little things can be. Thank you, Elmo. Oh, boy. Beautiful.
Yes, Elmo, Kermit and Elmo are both on the album. He sings Little Things with Elmo. Again, a second time that he has sung Little Things on the record. He also did Being Green with Kermit on that album. And he also has another duet which we'll talk about in a little while with one of my other picks, who also did that same song with Elmo at a very important moment in our nation's history. But that's foreshadowing.
Okay. Wow. I was saying before that I was really confident that the Muppet Fan Awards should be called the Whoopies, but maybe they should be called the... No, never mind. It's already taken. All
You'll
right.
get sued for that one.
Number 12.
Christy?
Sure. It's funny. My runner-up pick was actually noted daughter of noted Joe Raposo, Stan Frank Sinatra, Nancy Sinatra. But I didn't include her because her biggest Muppet contribution is a thing that most of us have never seen.
Right.
Which is devastating to me.
Yeah.
Release the tapes! But I'm actually going to, I think, go through my picks from most to least obvious. When originally posed this question, my gut had one answer and one answer only, and that was my president, as a member of ASCAP, Paul Williams. And I just think in terms of both contributing as a fellow performer, but also as a writer who, over multiple movies, infused the Muppets with so much heart and so much soul. I mean, game over, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just so to run through the credits, the Paul Williams Muppet credits. Where to begin? I mean, he did The Muppet Show first.
Yes.
I believe, and then was immediately tapped for Emmet Otter's Jug Band Christmas. And then shortly after that, so is on screen on The Muppet Show as their guest star. Then writes the songs for Emmet Otter's Jug Band Christmas, but is not in it. It would be wild if he was in it, because those puppets are on a very different scale. He absolutely should have cameoed. And then after Emmet Otter's Jug Band Christmas was the Muppet movie, he makes a cameo appearance in that, and he co-wrote all the songs for it. Rainbow Connection, I'm Going to Go Back There Someday, You Can Call Me Al. That's an inside joke just for Jared Fairclough. He'll appreciate that.
My personal theme song.
Yeah, well, it's also Jared Fairclough's, and Paul Williams apparently promised to sing You Can Call Me Al at Jared Fairclough's funeral, so we've got to make that happen soon. Come on, Jared. Anyhow.
A lot of questions.
After that, Muppet Christmas Carol, he writes all the songs for that, and then years later, he didn't just write the songs for The Muppets Christmas Letters to Santa, or A Muppet's Christmas Letters to Santa?
Muppet's Christmas Letter to Santa.
A Muppet's Christmas.
Very merry, thoroughbred, hoppin', jumpin' Letters to Santa.
Exactly. Someone update the Muppet Wiki right now. He was the one who pitched Letters to Santa. That's the thing that breaks my brain, is that I appreciate everything else about Paul Williams' history with and friendship with the Muppets, but I don't know why he gave us this.
And he was in it, too. He was the chief elf.
And he's in it.
And
Yes.
he's very pleased about the whole thing. He's in love with that movie.
And it's a terrible special.
But he does love it so much, and he's so proud. But he's also been a friend to Muppet fans. He's been on multiple Tough Pigs podcasts, and he's always a great guest, and he loves to talk about Jim Henson and the Muppets. He's one of the great champions.
Showtime! Showtime at the El Sleazo! And now, filling in for the vacationing El Sleazo dancing girls, the funny, furry, fabulous, Fuzzy Bear.
Number 11.
Oh, I was about to cue one of you, but it's actually my pick. I'm going to do. This is almost cheating, but my first pick is Harry Belafonte, and that's an unusual one because he didn't have a lot of appearances with the Muppets. Like we mostly know his episode of the Muppet Show. We all love his episode of the Muppet Show. It's one of the greats. It's the top. But the thing is, around the time of Jim Henson's passing, he was very active in paying tribute to Jim Henson and the Muppets. Part of that was at Jim Henson's memorial service. He performed Turn the World Around. And there's video of that, and it's great. And everyone should watch Jim Henson's memorial service and cry and cry and cry. He was also in the tribute TV special, The Muppets Celebrate Jim Henson. And then he appears in the PBS TV documentary, The World of Jim Henson. He contributed a corn pudding recipe for the Miss Piggy's cookbook, In the Kitchen with Miss Piggy. He also appeared in a CNN documentary, People Profiles Jim Henson, and, most interestingly, wrote an introduction for the book Jim Henson The Works. Now, for many Muppet fans, that is like the definitive Muppet book, because before the Muppet Wiki, this coffee table book had all of the information you were going to get about all the things that Jim Henson did. Like, just every little thing that Jim Henson and the Muppets, I mean, not every little thing, but a lot. It became the watch list for so many fans in the 90s, and for myself. So, and then he also did stuff on Sesame Street. So I don't know if I consider him the best friend to the Muppets, but I do consider him a really great friend to Jim Henson's legacy, and that's why I nominate Harry Belafonte.
I feel we should note that Harry Belafonte is not only a best friend to the Muppets, he's very close to Christy personally, we've decided in our headcanon. Just okay. Christy has appropriated him as her boyfriend. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
I have. We're in love. He just doesn't know it yet.
I'm very happy for you.
I'm so happy for you.
Lovely.
Didn't that recently turn into a throuple?
Oh, right. Roger Miller. But Roger Miller's dead, so it complicates things a little bit.
Yeah.
Only a little.
Not that much, yeah.
But will there be a zombie jamboree wedding, or?
Let's go with yes.
You heard it here first.
Once again.
Like a coconut counting
Ah, let's hear it count.
Yes. Oh, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 coconuts.
Oh, that's a lot of coconuts.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I think the island's sinking.
We need to find a bigger island anyway.
Yes, but I got you, so what else matters?
All right. Who's next?
Apparently it's me. And I'm going to lean further into this ridiculous tack because nobody seems to be stopping me. Okay.
Number 10.
Knowing that nobody could be a better friend to Piggy than Joan Rivers, I'd like to talk about somebody who's the best possible imaginable friend to Kermit. So a friend, a true friend, will lend you her professional artistic skills if she believes in your project, or even if she doesn't, even if she's convinced that you'll never sell your show and she'll never see a bloody cent. But only a real ride or die friend. Everybody else, please charge what you're worth. Even to friends. You can give them a friend's discount, but charge them.
Yes,
a true friend.
Richard Michael Gomez, charge your friends. He's listening.
Gosh. Please. They want to give you money.
It's true.
It's beautiful artwork. I've bought some. A true friend will help you with every harebrained scheme. She'll help you con your way into a job, even if you're no good at it, and then she'll help all your weirdo friends also con their way into a job. Even though I'm not sure how her dad can afford it. She'll give you the huggies when you need the huggies, because that is what friends do. Friends, I might add, do not spy. Who could be a better friend to Kermit than Jenny in The Muppets Take Manhattan? Nobody. QED.
Oh, wow, this is cheating. All right, sure. Fine. You know what? Fine. Who am I to argue? Okay.
You got a rock solid argument.
So to be clear, we're not making the case that Juliana Donald is a great friend to the Muppets. Specifically,
you asked for friends to the Muppets. This is my response.
Okay. Are there any objections? No?
Okay. I just want to know what she's done for them in the last 30 years.
Ooh.
I don't know. She's disappeared from the public eye, I'm pretty sure. She had a couple of credits after The Muppets Take Manhattan, but the actress.
Seems like a fair weather friend to me. She helps them, not even helps them, she uses them to get her first Broadway credit, and then she splits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tough business, David.
It's, you know better than anybody.
Okay.
My name's Jenny.
Number 9.
Adam, who's your next pick?
All right, I'll keep this short and sweet. The late, great Madeline Kahn. Not a ton of appearances, but she was on several Sesame Street episodes, apparently all filmed on the same day. I do recommend looking at the Muppet Wiki just to see the amazing 1978 shirt that she is wearing, blouse. It is astonishing, and I love it. But this is not a fashion podcast. She had a one of the best episodes of season 1 Muppet Show, which is not the highest of bars, but it's pretty good. And one of my favorite cameos in the Muppet movie. It is the reason that I confused Madeline Kahn and Carol Kane for about 40 years.
Yep.
Carol Kane has the better joke. She is the myth recurring gag. But Madeline Kahn appears in El Slizo Cafe and says, "Buy a lady a drink." And because she also appeared on the Muppet Show, which Carol Kane did not, advantage goes to Madeline Kahn. She's also one of the greats. And I just love that scene. I love her in the Muppet movie. I love her episode of the show. And I think she's great.
Yeah, if I were to have a zombie jamboree wedding with any celebrity, I feel like I'm leaning towards Madeline Kahn.
Yeah, not if I get there first.
This picture of her on the wiki with Grover is like truly one of the cutest things I've ever seen, and I might have to go track down this episode.
Okay, so all right, then this is actually a question. Adam, have you seen Madeline Kahn singing "Sing After Me" with Grover?
I mean, have I in my so I was 3 in 1978, so have I seen it? Probably.
Okay.
Do I recall it? No.
Okay, so you should seek that out. If you find that video online, I believe as it fades in, you hear, I don't know if it's been edited out at some point by Sesame Workshop in its current form on YouTube, but originally you do hear Grover saying to Madeline Kahn,
You are looking highly attractive today.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I still don't totally know what to make of it, but yeah, she has this trifecta of being on the Muppet Show, being in the Muppet movie, and being on Sesame Street, and in all 3 of those categories, she's great.
I just really don't think it would work out if we got married.
Yeah, I suppose I am kind of short for you.
No, it's well. Anyway, hey, I hope we can be the very best of friends.
Thank you.
And if there's anything I can ever do for you,
There is one thing.
What?
Let me finish my song.
Oh, of course.
Number 8.
David, who do you have next for us?
So it's funny. I was thinking about this during your introduction, how you expected us to bring folks from the first 3 seasons of The Muppet Show, and I'm not doing that. But I do have someone from season 4 of The Muppet Show, and that is John Denver. John Denver, I would say, in the 70s and early 80s, was about as identified with the Muppets as any non-Muppet performer possibly could be. Besides being on a truly great episode of The Muppet Show, which we haven't done yet for the podcast, but it's next for us because it's the first one in season 4. He did 2 different specials with the Muppets and also 2 albums that were related to those specials, A Christmas Together and then John Denver and the Muppets Rocky Mountain Holiday. And what's interesting about these specials, in particular Rocky Mountain Holiday, is unlike, say, Julie Andrews, who did a ton of specials that had Muppets in them, these are truly the Muppets and John Denver present, not John Denver does a special and the Muppets are there.
Yeah.
Especially from Rocky Mountain Holiday, which is almost the Muppets do a special and John Denver is there, but it really is, it does feel like an equal collaboration, especially because they're on his home turf there. And they're just, listen, Christmas Together, not really my jam. Like, not my holiday, and it's like weirdly religious for a Muppet special, especially compared to the later Christmas specials.
Yeah.
But much like how I think Tony Bennett had the right vibe for the Muppets of the 90s, I think John Denver had exactly the right vibe for the Muppets of the 70s and 80s, where he was popular, he was beloved, he was non-threatening, but he did have a little edge to him. He did movies like Oh God, that were not uncontroversial.
Right.
It's just like, what's not to love about John Denver?
They had a notion that Jim's characters could use their unusual combination of sincerity and humorous irreverence to convey real information.
Say,
The show
did you
they
know that
created
John
changed
Denver's real name
everything
is
for-
Henry John Deutschendorf Jr.?
What are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm just using my sincerity and humorous irreverence to convey real information.
Right. Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Also, I think he might be the only person we mentioned today who has a crossover with the Muppet comic strip.
Oh?
Explain.
In one of the strips, there is Kermit and Robin are mountain climbing, and Robin makes a crack about not wanting to hear Kermit start singing Rocky Mountain High. And if you'd like to learn more about the Muppet Show comic strip, you should listen to the episode of Kermitment where they discuss it with a very special guest star, me.
Oh, hey, I know that guy.
Number 7.
Christy, who do you have next?
So my next pick is the person that I think in the current culture in the year 2023 is making the biggest play for best human friend of the Muppets. And that's actor, writer, comedian, star of Ted Lasso, extremely handsome man, Brett Goldstein.
He is all those things, especially extremely handsome.
He loves the Muppets in a deep and pure and true way and expresses it at every possible opportunity. I watched a video that was posted by British GQ last week in which they asked him to bring his 10 essential items in his life, and one of them was a water bottle that he got visiting the Muppet Studios.
Huh.
Well, that's the cutest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. He said something along the lines of, people say don't meet your heroes, but everyone's heroes should be the Muppets because no notes. He made a very charming appearance on Sesame Street. He early in his career apparently did a one-man abridged version of Muppet Christmas Carol on stage.
He did. It's interesting.
Yeah, and he is a very late addition to this pantheon, but I think he will continue to be a worthy contributor to it.
Right, now, our team's for soccer. I think it would be fair if...
Me the captain? Yeah, good idea. Yeah, me like that. Me the best player after all.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Well, let's see your footwork.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, here, watch this. Oh, yeah.
Hey, pretty good.
Thank you.
All right, fair enough. You're the captain.
Okay, good. Number 6.
My second pick, since we're on the newer people, is Danny Trejo. And not that Danny Trejo is by any means new to the movies at this point, but he's in a lot of the modern stuff that the Muppets do. And I guess I'm using modern loosely. He's in the trailer for the 2011 Muppet movie, but he didn't actually make it into the final cut, which is maybe kind of unfortunate. And very often when that happens, when someone gets cut out of a movie, they feel somewhat burned by the people who cut them out. And so you'd think that after that, maybe he would not work with the Muppets again, but he comes back for Muppets Most Wanted. And then he just keeps coming back. He was in the show Muppets Now on Disney+.
Wait, we're calling that a positive?
Well...
If he was good on it, then that's a real skill that he has.
That's a tribute to him.
I'm not going to say that he was particularly good or bad on it, but in terms of one's dedication to the Muppets, in terms of being a great friend, to stick with them even through that, and to be willing to work with them again after Muppets Now, that's really something. Fair. And he did. He's back in Muppets Haunted Mansion. So they can always count on Danny Trejo. He showed up as a guest on the Baretta Brothers. He's such a good pal to the Muppets and always fun to see. Seems like a neat guy. That's my pick.
Call in a specialist.
A heart doctor? No, a script doctor. These jokes keep dying. And so do I.
Danny Trejo?
I also like how we're acting as if like Kermit personally cut him out of the 2011 movie.
Are you saying he didn't? You don't think Kermit had final cut?
Walter did it.
That makes more sense.
Okay, that's a better explanation.
It's in the fine print of the standard rich and famous contract.
Number 5. Ba-dum-bum-bum.
I'm looking at the Google Doc right now, and I'm already kind of sighing a little bit about what comes next. But you know what? Go ahead.
Great. You haven't cut me off, so I'm just going to
keep doing
this.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Great. All right. So let's say we take a little bit of a left turn here. Have you ever gone from enemies with someone to best friends with them in a span of 46 minutes? Have you? From a cantankerous old misanthrope to, perchance, Santa Claus. Not my holiday, but we're still talking about my favorite production in the universe. Okay, think about it.
A Very Merry Muppet Christmas?
Yes. You show up at a country farmhouse, you're hoping for a nice, quiet holiday with your dog, and half an hour later, you're digging around in the snow for a pig you've never met when it's cold enough out there to freeze your Winnebago. Up until a short while ago, you might have found that strange. I would say forming that kind of bond with a group of people that quickly and that intensely really only happens once in a lifetime when you're a true friend with an enormous heart and you have met some extremely nice weirdos. There is no better friend to the Muppets than Doc from Fraggle Rock.
Okay.
I'm out.
Well, all right. You're...
Listen, I think it's good that there's been at least some acknowledgement of the Fraggles today.
Yes.
And, I will come to Michal's rescue and name drop at the same time.
Please.
Because we now live in a world with 2 Docs, and I am friends in real life with Lily Cooper, who is a truly delightful human being and a wonderful, Doc too. So we can like bring that around to true talent and true lovely people in the real world. I don't know how good a friend she is to the Muppets. There's only been 1 season of that new show, but hey, she's great. And she's real. So there you go.
And there's time. There's still time for more seasons of Back to the Rock and for her to do things with the Disney Muppets or Sesame Street. There's so much time.
It's been renewed, right?
Yeah, so Doc from Fraggle Rock in all possible iterations and regenerations. And the associated humans.
Okay. That's not what this was for.
Here's the thing. If Doc was such a good friend, then why did every international version of Fraggle Rock replace him?
Now, hold on.
Every possible iteration and regeneration of Doc. We've been over this.
That's the thing, is that technically all of those different Docs are Doc now. They're all collectively together.
Multiverse, dude.
The best... well, I guess that is the thing, is that this is the only person who's definitely been a good friend to Muppets in several different Muppet universes. All across the multiverse. So...
And in multiple countries and languages.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy it.
Okay. Okay.
Terrible news, Brock.
Ja, ich weiß.
Mrs. Widget's made us a steak and kidney pie.
Nein, das ist alles ganz anders. Ich kann jetzt nicht
bringing it over
zu
herself
arbeiten, weißt
on
du?
the mailboat.
Warum spielst du denn nicht
I know
10
what that
Minuten
means.
für dich selber?
She is going to propose to me.
Number 4.
Let's move on. Adam?
Yes.
Sorry,
right.
Thank you for your 3 very interesting, thoughtful,
very
creative,
real,
well-written responses
very
to the prompt.
non-fictional answers.
I'm pleased. I've been smiling this whole time. I'm having a good time, so great. Thank you.
I'm having a great time. Thank you for inviting us.
That.
If just one person believes in you, like Michal believes in her choices. Okay, so speaking of, David already mentioned my choice. It's real obvious. Julie Andrews.
David already dissed your choice for some reason, which I don't understand.
I'm just. What did I say about moving past it? What did I say about moving past
friends.
it?
I'm here to win.
You're here to nominate friends, not make them. Yes.
Look, I have had a busy week. I did not do a ton of research. I went obvious. It's okay. Julie Andrews. She's great. She's fucking Julie Andrews.
No, Blake Edwards is fucking Julie Andrews.
I was hoping you would clarify.
No.
I mean, not anymore. He's dead. But
yes, exactly.
Historically. Did you just spit take, Christy?
Anyway, surprised to discover that she never did any Sesame Street appearances, but her Muppet Show episode is one of the all-time best, indisputably. I mean, come on, Lonely Goat Herd with actual Muppet goats. Perfect.
Actual Muppet goats. Those were real Muppet goats.
Real live Muppet goats. Come on.
Yeah, they're a real puppet.
And many, many, many variety show special appearances with the Muppets. She was still not technically Muppeting, but Jim Henson Company puppeting as recently as 2017 on the Netflix show Julie's Green Room. She obviously has a great affection for working with puppets and with the Henson Company, and she's Julie Andrews.
She's also
awesome.
the voice of a Henson puppet in the stage version of Dr. Dolittle in the West End.
Well, great.
That's right.
Great.
That's
Good.
right. There was, but Michal has pointed out to me via text that there was a special Julie on Sesame Street that was one of her many TV specials. That is true, but she never appeared on Sesame Street proper.
In fact, she never even appeared on the proper Sesame Street set, because for Julie on Sesame Street, instead of going to Sesame Street, she brought Sesame Street to her.
Wow.
She had them rebuild the Sesame Street set in England.
I love that.
She's Julie Andrews. She does what she wants.
Everybody should see Julie on Sesame Street at some point before they die, preferably when they're on drugs.
She's a very good friend to some of the Sesame Street Muppets in that special.
Indeed. Well, she's a very good friend to Kermit on The Muppet Show when they sing When You Were a Tadpole and I Was a Fish, which they had done together on one of their many other things. There's the 1-to-1 special, One Step into Spring, My Favorite Things, a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. And we've talked about Julie on Sesame Street on Muppeturgy before, and I've watched pieces of it, and it is real weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yep. And I actually do like that the Jim Henson Company series, Julie's Green Room. I thought they did a pretty good job with that show. Not technically Muppets, but close enough. Like,
yeah,
it's nice
it is very much for very small children, and I couldn't really stomach a lot of it, but it is for budding theater nerds, or if you want to mold your small child into a theater nerd, more power to you. There is a Muppet character a puppet character played by Stephanie DeBruso, who is so clearly modeled on Leah Michele, like as Rachel Berry in Glee, but like really, let's be honest, it's just Leah Michele, and it just filled me with such joy. She's awful. It's great. So it's worth a look, even if you're like, I can't do this as a childless adult, but it's worth like 5 minutes of your time to just check out.
I'll also add, she was almost apparently on another podcast in this Tough Pigs podcast feed to introduce our guest star. Very nearly. She was actually interested. It came close. So I think that she has a genuine love and respect for these characters, and has for a long time, and for the craft of puppetry. Nothing but respect for Julie Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, I've never met her, but I know people who have worked with her and have not a single bad word to say about her. She really does seem like a true delight on every level.
I'll have a bad word to say about her.
Okay.
She has written 2 full-length, book-length memoirs, and despite having worked with the Muppets a gazillion times, she devotes not one word to the Muppets or Jim Henson or any of that experience.
Huh.
So how important were they to her, really?
Oh, once again, David is attacking Adam's choice hard. I'm not sure why.
Here's the beauty of this. I'm having a wonderful time, but I don't care. So
okay, great. Perfect.
Knock it off up there. I'm trying to get some sleep.
I'm sorry. How can you sleep? The show's just getting started.
Well, the same way I sleep through all your shows.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And don't tell me you're going to do it one more time.
Well, I wasn't going to, but now that you mention it. One more time.
Number 87. Number 3.
David, how are you going to top Julie Andrews, since you're so confident?
Once again, Blake Edwards.
Julie Andrews isn't the only person who brought Sesame Street to her, because in 1998, Rosie O'Donnell both brought her show to Sesame Street, but then also brought Sesame Street to her audience, to her studio, so that she could have a studio audience for her show on Sesame Street. Rosie O'Donnell, I think that if there's truly a best friend to the Muppets in the 90s, it is Rosie O'Donnell. Like we talk about her a lot about in the context of someone who really made sure that Broadway was in the national conversation in the 90s, but she was just as much doing this for the Muppets at the same time. We forget this now, but the whole Tickle Me Elmo craze was really fueled by Rosie O'Donnell promoting Tickle Me Elmo on her show. She had Elmo on her show so many times, but not just Elmo. She had Miss Piggy on her show. She had Oscar on her show. In fact, one of the many times that she had Piggy on, she had Miss Piggy and the Captain and Tennille and Katie Couric all on the show together, and they all performed Muskrat Love. And when I tell you that is so deeply imprinted on me, and it's not available on YouTube, and that kills me.
What?
But, you know, in the post Jim Henson era, they weren't doing the same kind of talk show appearances that they did when Jim was alive. Like, they wouldn't have the puppeteers on the couch with the puppets, but they were doing talk show appearances, and mostly with Rosie, and they were so important at keeping the Muppets, I think, in the public eye, and then in sort of a positive way. When Muppets Tonight was sort of flailing about, when Sesame Street was struggling with the whole, like, around the corner nonsense, there was Rosie to say, like, Elmo is a superstar and we should treat him accordingly. Miss Piggy is a superstar and she deserves her flowers. She also appeared, you know, besides her own show, she appeared on a number of different Muppet projects. She was supposed to be on Muppets Tonight, but it got canceled before her episode was taped. But she was in Elmo Palooza, and she was on Sesame Street and a bunch of other specials. And Elmo was on her Christmas album. And that reminds me, when I talked about Tony Bennett, Rosie O'Donnell and Tony Bennett did a duet of the song "Put on a Happy Face" on that album, The Playground, which was one that Kermit and Elmo were on.
Yes.
In the week after 9/11, Elmo and Rosie O'Donnell performed "Put on a Happy Face" on national television to help heal our nation in that moment. And really, what else can you ask for Best Friend of the Muppets? I could not find a video clip of that. I'm dying to see it. I cannot imagine what that felt like or how that came across.
I can't imagine how that was a good idea. But
right?
Wow. Okay, I was not ready for this pitch to be this strong. I guess I just kind of forgot about how important she was to the Muppets at that time, but my gosh, you make a good case.
And the episode where she brought her show to Sesame Street is on YouTube in its entirety. It's a delight. I highly recommend it. Whoopi Goldberg is one of the guests, as is Julia Roberts, of all people. And it's like they do original music numbers. They have like the whole human cast and the whole Muppet cast. Like, it's a whole thing. She gets Snuffleupagus and Alice into her studio to interact with the audience. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah, Elmo, you know, I just wanted to tell everybody about Elmo Palooza. And there's all these great people in it.
Like Jon Stewart and David Allegria and Tara Banks.
Oh!
And Cindy Crawford.
Cindy Crawford.
Be still Elmo's heart.
And who else?
And the Fugees. And then there's a In Vogue and Rosie!
Number 2.
We're down to Christy, your last submission for our Friend of the Muppets nominations.
And I have to follow, you know, bringing the country together after national tragedy with my wackiest choice, who I would argue is maybe not a best friend of the Muppets so much as maybe a best lover of the Muppets, who is Charles Grodin. Now, I picked Charles Grodin because as a kid, I had the first 3 Muppet movies on a long play VHS tape that my uncle had taped for me off of cable. And they were taped in the following order: Muppets Take Manhattan, The Muppet Movie, and Great Muppet Caper. So consequentially, very chaotic, yes. But as a consequence, that's also the order that those movies are ranked in my head. I think if for some reason the order had been swapped, the entire trajectory of my life would have been changed, and I would not be a musical theater writer, you know, banging on doors and, you know, not taking no for an answer. I'd be a jewel thief. But because of that, I went a very long time without having seen Great Muppet Caper, and I went about 6 or 7 years ago to see a screening of it at the Metrograph in New York City. And I was struck by the level of commitment in Charles Grodin's performance.
Mm-hmm.
That man is in love with Miss Piggy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not a bit. It is not a game. He is in love with Miss Piggy. And it extends beyond the fictional, because in every interview subsequent to the movie, when asked about his experience with the Muppets, Charles Grodin talked about Miss Piggy like a real human co-star.
I didn't know that these interviews existed.
Oh, they do, and they're wonderful.
Oh.
He talks about how they had a torrid affair, and it's incredible. And so my argument is that in committing to the idea that the Muppets are real in the world, Charles Grodin is, in essence, the best human friend to the Muppets.
Have dinner with me tonight.
Mr. Holiday, really, I'm very busy.
Oh, can we meet just for a moment? Just one brief moment, Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy. You're a very different looking woman. I'm so tired of the same type, those tall, thin creatures with the long legs, the aquiline noses, the teeth like pearls, soft skin.
Yeah, well, I can see where that might make you sick to your stomach.
I don't know how to justify the much thinner, cornier performance, the much less committed performance in the Muppets at Walt Disney World, but that performance in The Great Muppet Caper it's pretty astonishing. It's so believable. And he makes the Muppets more believable through it.
Yeah.
That just leaves one last nomination for me.
Number 1!
And I'm going to, again, stick with the pretty obvious here and go with someone else who's newer. It may be a little bit redundant for me to bring him up now in this Tough Pigs podcast feed, since just a few episodes ago, you heard him talking with Joe and Jared, but I gotta go with Bobby Moynihan. He loves the Muppets so freaking much.
The Muppet Show at the Hollywood Bowl. It was quite possibly one of the best experiences of my entire life. I can't begin to explain. If you ever get a chance to host the Muppet Show, do it. It's really fun.
He clearly adores these guys, and by now he's been on Sesame Street, has apparently appeared on the revival of The Electric Company. I'm not sure that counts for too much here, but it counts for enough. The Muppet Wiki is filled with pictures of him with Muppets, and most of that's because of what he did with the Muppets for The Muppets Take the Bowl, their live show at the Hollywood Bowl, and then again, doing a live show with them in London, where even though nobody knew who he was there, he still happily performed with the Muppets, did a bunch of great bits with them. He completely believes in the characters. He makes everyone else believe in the characters. He's a really good friend to them, a really good supporter to them in these modern times when the Muppets desperately need more celebrities to appreciate just how great the Muppets are, and just how much every celebrity should want to work with the Muppets, so that they get involved in these package deals with lots of famous people and lots of talent, so that they can get things made, so that we can consume more fun Muppet things. I think I'm going to end my rant right there, because, Adam, you look like you're falling asleep. I feel so bad for keeping you up this late. I want to start moving us towards the conclusion.
My connection keeps freezing, apparently, so
okay.
You're getting some weird frozen views of me. I'm fine.
Okay.
Does Bobby Moynihan count as a celebrity in 2023?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Like, I mean, listen, this is not a knock on him at all, but, like, what has he done since Saturday Night Live?
Well, he was in The Muppets Take the Bowl, The Muppets Take the O2.
And, like, what has he done with civilians? Oh, he was the voice of Louie on the DuckTales revival. But again, like, that, I don't think that makes you famous. I just think that makes you beloved.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'd like to hear who are the runners-up. Who almost was included in this, briefly, as quickly as we can. Who almost was included in our lists? Because I've got a bunch of names that I nearly included. That it was tough. It was tough not to pick them. What have you got? I don't have an order for who's going to go first. So
well, Michal's has her open on the screen, so why don't you go first while the rest of us are like pulling for those notes?
I just kept all of mine in the outline to keep you on your toes, so you wouldn't know which ones I had picked.
It was very confusing. Yes,
I was really excited to potentially look more into the life of Gates McFadden, because she is a fascinating character who has had a really unique career, and a really unique career with the Muppets.
Yes. Indeed.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, Sorry, got distracted by, I think, a bug? I have no idea what it is. I apologize. Okay.
Kill it, squash it.
Oh, it's Bobby Moynihan.
So it's wild that after all of our sort of back and forth about this, that none of us talked about Jason Segel, who I think is maybe the most obvious contemporary choice.
We talked about him early on in our Slack conversation about this. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I'm going to, because I've scrolled up through our Slack and I found maybe the best thing Michal has ever said. And then you can tell us if you want this cut, Michal. I also thought of only doing people the Muppets have probably f***ed, like Phyllis Diller, Raquel Welch, and Ozzy Osbourne. To which Christy replied, I mean, that's not part of my Charles Grodin logic. So I can't top that.
But Rosie O'Donnell could.
Hey!
Okay.
Yeah, if I was going to troll you with any misunderstanding of the question, it's a good thing that I trolled you with the one that I ended up with.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Didn't go down the Phyllis
would
Diller
have
route.
been. There's if you want to, you all are welcome to come back again for the instead of the Muppet Friends Awards, the Muppet Friends with Benefits Awards.
I mean, that would be easier for us, frankly. You've listened to the podcast. I wanted to stay Muppet Show, Muppet adjacent, but I did consider Lin-Manuel Miranda because of all of his Sesame Street work, and just that Lin-Manuel Miranda puppet is just so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that he wrote music for Sesame Street too, and a really interesting contender here. As far as Gates McFadden, I do want to circle back and remind everybody her Muppet arc is she's in the Muppets Take Manhattan. She does choreography for Labyrinth.
I'm literally just scrolling up through our Slack when we started talking about doing this with you. Linda Cardellini was on our list, even though we did give you a hard time about Muppets Now. She was a high point, one of few.
I was ready to make the case for Herb Alpert, who was key to the development of Miss Piggy and the development of the studio.
Yeah, he's got such an.
I have an
interesting
older
history with
suggestion.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I have an older suggestion than anyone that we've thrown out so far, who I think should at least get an honorable mention, which is Jimmy Dean.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
who arguably without his friendship with Ralph, we wouldn't have all the rest of it.
It's true. Similarly, Willard Scott, good friend to the Salmon Friends Muppets and key to them ever making it out of Washington.
Yeah. Cher was on our list.
Yeah.
Rita Moreno was on our list.
Alan Arkin. Yep. Mandy Patinkin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, these are interesting. I was thinking about Tina Fey, whose Muppet fan obsession was all over 30 Rock and all the stuff that she's done, and then, of course, Sesame Street and Muppets Most Wanted. Ruth Buzzy came to mind for me because of how she just kind of became part of the cast of Sesame Street for a while in the 90s.
She was in one of the worst episodes of The Muppet Show, and then she ruined Sesame Street.
This is the thing, is that, I want to give her credit for doing Muppet Show and Sesame Street, and she is talented, but what she brought to Sesame Street was the Around to Corner, I mean, it's not her fault, but the Around the Corner era, and what she brought to the Muppet Show was the Ruth Buzzy episode of the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what to do.
So, this is someone who absolutely does not qualify by the rules that you established, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least name Danny Horn as someone who has probably done more than anyone else currently alive to keep the Muppets legacy alive and relevant, and also to genuinely assist the people who are making the Muppets now have a link to the people who made the Muppets then.
That's
true.
true.
Not just a link, but I'm sure that Muppet writers use the Muppet Wiki every day.
Yeah.
Without Danny's work, there might not be contemporary writing for Muppets, or it wouldn't be as strong, or it wouldn't be as well researched.
This is very true. Yeah, not quite allowed on a technicality, but if we bend the rules, then yeah, Danny Horn, kind of my dad, Danny Horn, now that I'm a member of Tough Pigs. I've got Lady Gaga on my list as a possibility, who came up earlier, because, I mean, it's tricky because, again, she clearly loves the Muppets. She's done lots of interesting things with them. I'm just still upset.
Well, boy, is that special unwatchable.
Right. I'm upset about the unwatchable special. I don't know. Brooke Shields kept coming back to do stuff with the Muppets, including the Muppet Show Live. She was this doesn't count for anything, but she was in attendance at the Carnegie Hall show with the Muppets I mentioned before. Like, some of us fans saw her like running out of the back of Carnegie Hall trying not to be noticed after seeing that show and seemingly visiting some of the people who put it on. Tom Bergeron is a guy the Muppets like to call a lot for a lot of things, who's pretty good with them. Josh Groban keeps popping up in Muppet stuff.
We had he was on our list.
Yeah,
here,
we thought about that too.
I mean, Groban makes sense. He's good. I enjoy Groban as an actor more than I do as a musician. For whatever reason, he has such a funny energy. Judy Collins is on my list because she was on Sesame Street a ton. She did, like only in the 70s, but nevertheless, lots of Sesame Street appearances. And she did send in the clowns on the Muppet Show. So
sure did.
And then Dave Grohl, I think, is the only one, apart from Doc, Dave Grohl is the only one here who has the Fraggle connection now, as well as the Disney Muppet connections. Bob Hope, it was in consideration since he does the Muppet Show.
And then they do all of his specials.
The Muppet movie, right. They do his stuff, and he's in that Miss Piggy's Hollywood thing for the Jim Henson Hour, which is not where I'm expecting to see Bob Hope appear. The Jim Henson Hour of all places. And then, of course, Yvette Nicole Brown, who hasn't done a lot with the Muppets yet, but is certainly hoping to in the future, and is such a big fan of theirs. So there are a lot of people who love the Muppets and have worked with them a whole bunch, and I'm so glad. Okay, it's already gotten late, but I do want to figure out, if we had to pick one out of all the people who've been named, who's the best friend of the Muppets? Like, I want to be able to post this certificate online, this fancy schmancy award that isn't real and doesn't matter for best friend of the Muppets, to some star, to some celebrity who's worked with them a lot. The case for Tony Bennett was so strong, and that was not at all who I was thinking of before this.
That's funny, because I think of the three that I brought, he is the least in contention.
Interesting.
I think it's Paul Williams.
Yeah, okay. All right, Christy's raising her hands for Paul Williams.
It's hard to argue with Paul Williams.
It is. It's tough. I almost thought, do we need a separate category of best celebrity Muppet contributor for Paul Williams, just because he's in such a unique role that's different from everybody else?
I guess, right, here's the thing with Paul Williams, is that if you took the songwriting out of the equation, which is impossible to do with him, but if you did,
right,
then he's not on the same level.
Right.
But also, if you deduct points for the bad songs,
okay,
where does he live?
Well,
but
then
he
Christy made a
continues
really
to
strong
be.
case for Charles Grodin.
It's true. Paul Williams continues to be a champion for the Muppets.
It's true.
That's true.
Past, present, and future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we just call it and say Paul Williams is the best friend of the Muppets. We'll insert a little sound effect here for Paul Williams, the best friend of the Muppets. There was a sound effect there. That was fun. Oh, thank
Instant
you.
applause.
Okay. Great. What a nifty device. Much appreciated.
I rely on it a lot.
We might need that again later in the show. And then, is it worth trying to narrow down the list that we already have to a few who get the certificates, or just the bunch that were already nominated on the list that we presented? Is that going to be the group who gets?
I think that the people who are alive and have a social media presence should get a certificate.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are the runners-up. And I think if you have other questions that you want to ask, we should address those.
All right. We're going to say that's done, and I'm going to get to finally move on to asking more questions about Muppeturgy. Do any of you have a different impression of the Muppet Show or its characters now than you did before you started doing this project?
Yeah.
Did you all know that you were going to be big fans of Droop going into this? Did you know you were going to be the Droop Troop?
Didn't know who Droop was.
I didn't know we were going to be the Droop Troop, but he was the one thing that I remembered fondly about the Valentine's episode. So I was looking forward to, and I don't even know that I remembered which character it was who was just so self-pitying and delightfully morose. But I was looking forward to revisiting him.
It's been a joy to discover how Droop has sort of persisted throughout the years. Like, not only did I not remember him, but like, if you had told me that Droop was also in all these other things, I would have been like, what? Who? What? So that's been like our own little Where's Waldo game.
Yeah, I mean, my memory is so weird, and I've talked about this on the podcast. Like, I had seen the Valentine special before, but really, it fell out of my head immediately, which is weird because you'd think, but I mean, Droop, George and his mop, those little guys popping out of the piano, like those are all things that are very much like my thing. Like the Mia Farrow of it all, whatever, I don't care. But like, you'd think I would have remembered some of that, and I just didn't. I was recently, spoiler for several episodes from now of Muppeturgy, the Liza Minnelli Copacabana is like one of my favorite things in the world. I have watched that clip on YouTube many, many times. The rest of the episode, whatever. Droop's in that. Never noticed before. Even I watched it since we started the podcast and not noticed that Droop was in it. And I watched it just recently because it popped up on my Twitter feed. And I was like, oh my God, Droop's in this. I had no idea. So like he just keeps popping up places that you don't expect him to be there. So,
which is funny because one of the most memorable lines that Mia Farrow has in that special is, oh, Droop, you're here too.
It's true. I mean, he's just an extra, right? He's just in the club. He's not featured in any way, but he's there.
He's there too.
I wonder if you're going to get some flack for that whatever, dismissing the rest of the Liza Minnelli episode.
It's a great episode. I just mean, like, in terms of...
I did raise an eyebrow.
In terms of my memory of it, like, I've watched that one scene many, many, many times, and the rest of it less so. I'm pretty confident I'm going to love the whole thing when we get to it. I just have not seen the rest of it in a really long time.
Sure.
You know, to answer your question about having a different impression of the show being over halfway through it at this point, because of where I fall on the age spectrum, I was born after the initial run of The Muppet Show. And so a lot of my exposure to Muppet Show content was through, and this comes up on the podcast a lot, the various VHS compilations, which weren't necessarily faithful to the episodes in their original format. And one of the joys of the show is I've been doing a lot of research on mid-century variety shows for a writing project of mine. And so I've been watching The Carol Burnett Show, and I've been watching Laugh-In and Sonny and Cher. And The Muppet Show stands on its own as a brilliant variety show.
Huh.
Like, I think in its bones, as, you know, the variety show was sort of, in many ways, the last big gasp of vaudeville. And I don't think you could find a place on television where, like, the beating heart of vaudeville exists more than The Muppet Show. And it's a delight.
So true. Sometimes I'm down on The Muppet Show, I'll be honest, more than the rest of the Tough Pigs crew. But for whatever reason, I really enjoy hearing people talk about The Muppet Show because it's such an interesting thing to confront, not just as a Muppet thing, but as a time in pop culture. And I really appreciate the way that you all have captured how The Muppet Show isn't just this Muppet thing, it's this 70s pop culture thing. It's so much a part of that world that I didn't live through. I'm too young for that. So getting more and more of the references through your show it's a joy. It is such a joy. And I want to thank you all for doing that show and for being guests on this show today. Muppeturgists, where can people find your stuff on the internet?
You can find the podcast on various social media at Muppeturgy and on the web at Muppeturgy.com and wherever you get your podcasts. We're pretty much all the podcast places. You can find me personally on various social medias at Adam807. When is this coming out?
It's supposed to, unless Joe messes with the schedule for whatever reason, it's supposed to come out on the 23rd of March.
Then I'll plug my recent guest print. I just recently got to be a guest on one of my favorite non-Muppet podcasts. This had Oscar buzz, talking about the movie version of the musical Dear Evan Hansen. We had a time, so you can check that out wherever you get podcasts.
You can find me, David, on most social media as It's D Levy. And if we're plugging guest appearances, I am on what I think will have been the most recent episode of Moving Right Along on the other Tough Pigs feed when this episode hits, talking about minute 69, of Muppet's Christmas Carol.
All right.
featuring Muppet's best friend, Paul Williams, writing the songs.
Wow.
Although there is no music in minutes 69 and 70.
Nice.
Take it to Twitter and see if Paul Williams responds with nice.
Apparently, in all their years of doing minute-by-minute breakdowns, I was the first guest on a minute 69 to say nice.
Congratulations.
I'm very proud of that.
So happy for you. Christy?
So yeah, I am at Timid Frida on Instagram quite a bit, and on Twitter as like a very special, sweep guest star. I post like 3 or 4 times a year. But also, if you go to christybauer.com, you can check out information about the musicals, what I wrote.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And Michal?
Yeah, I'm not so much on the publicly accessible social medias, but if you are really curious to look at pictures of costumes and puppets that I've built or weird dance stuff that I've done, you can go to michalrichardson.com. If you want to hear some scripts that I wrote, and if you have a tiny person in your life, or even if you don't, you might enjoy the Imagine Neighborhood podcast if you want to hear about bonkers adventures of dinosaur princesses and teenage rock stars and their weird friends, and also about social emotional learning and kindness. Who's not a fan of kindness? Nobody.
Miss Piggy.
She's differently not a fan of kindness now than she wasn't a fan of kindness in the 70s.
And now, a moment of spontaneous applause for our panel of Muppet experts. That's normally where I edit in a sound effect, but I think this time we might have a live sound effect.
Oh, I could just use my instant audience.
Yeah. Good. Oh, okay.
That's more like it.
Thank you.
There you go.
Listeners, if you enjoyed this program, we hope you'll consider supporting us on Patreon. Thank you to those of you who are already doing so now. This Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast was executive produced by the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer, Joe Hennis. Thanks to Kenny Durkin for our artwork, and thanks to Frank Oz, because it's always a good time to thank a Frank. For toughpigs.com, this is JD Hansel reminding you of Jim Henson's motto, you'll never get out of the cube. Goodbye.
She's differently not a fan of kindness now than she wasn't a fan of kindness in the 70s.
Sorry, I got distracted. I was trying to see, you probably don't necessarily want me to plug this, but I was trying to see if in the Muppets Twitter Tough Pigs bracket, if the Captain Google video had made it to the second round and if that was worth plugging, but I don't think that it did.
Don't worry about it. If you really felt strongly about plugging it, I wouldn't object, but I don't personally think that it's worth plugging.
Michal, JD told me that he grew up watching videos of you.
I don't even know how to feel about
that's
this.
A slight exaggeration, sort of. I mean, I throughout my teen years, I have watched the Captain Google video more times than I can justify. I don't really know how to explain it, but for whatever reason, something in that spoke to me. I can't really put my finger on it, but
I only made a handful of videos with Ryan and Joe back in those weird days where we were just making doofy puppet videos, not expecting anybody to watch them. I love, on Ryan's behalf, that you have grown up watching the Captain Google video because it doesn't make any sense. And when he wrote it, it didn't make any sense. It still has not suddenly begun to make any sense. It's just a bunch of people yelling Captain Google and laughing for no reason.
I think it has a lot of interesting jokes that, but by the end of my teen years, for better or worse, had been at least somewhat formative of my sense of humor. Again, I can't explain, justify, or defend this. It's just a thing, and I wanted to be able to confess it, because I have already confessed this information to Joe. I think Ryan knows. I needed all three of you to know for my own sake. I guess that's all I can say about that. I apologize for the awkwardness inherent in that remark.
I appreciate knowing that. I will have to take that into the rest of my year, knowing that somebody grew up watching something that I was a part of.
Again, grew up, it's not like I'm 10. Like, to be clear, I am, at this point, I am I am 26 years old going on 27. So I am young, and when I saw that video, I was younger. I was
a little like you're 10.
An early teenager. It's a little bit like I guess I was not that many years older than 10 when I first encountered the video. So maybe it is an F description. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like thinking about this. And we're going to move on towards the end. And now, a moment of spontaneous applause for our panel.